learned to an election. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a little, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it down, we gon' get it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your watch list coming into November 23rd, 2020, and the stock market might go crazy. I say might because we ended last week on a very, very surprising note. The Munchkin Fed and all of that, and then now coming into the end of the year, more stimulus, other stuff happening, budgets, all of that. There's a lot of key things happening. However, this week we do not have too much lined up. So the key is going to be really watching what we saw from last week. How does that come into this week? But there is a few things. We are going to get some Jerome Powell, some economic data, but nothing too crazy. So it should be exciting. It shouldn't disappoint. But I got the plays. I got the keys. I have everything else we're going to be watching tomorrow and the rest of the week. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I got a surprising list of plays for you. Some of you will be surprised. But let us not delay. You guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open. It's the first link in the description. And it is pinned in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. It's free $99. It costs you nothing to join. YouTube.com/the-stock-market. You can post the play, see the plays, watch the watch list come to life. And yes, if you want to join a long-term chair support group, we are the place to be. And the most important thing you need to do, post your watch list below. Let us know what you're looking at. Got any plays, comments, remixes, anything. Post them below and source that info. Shout out to Chad, baby. And please do not forget the random account generator. So today is Sunday. Tomorrow is Monday. That's usually how it works. So what we ask for you on this watch list video is to post a random option trade below, strike price, expiration, and date. This is the random account. Every Monday morning, we're going to go through with the random comment generator, pick an account. We started at 500. Right now, it's at 2,800. We're going to pick a random play. But I must say, I am very, very impressed with the comment section of Chad. So God bless you all. The account is outperforming. But right off the bat, the first thing we have to talk about, like we said, there's not going to be too much news. But the main thing from tomorrow and even this week is going to be the digestion from last Friday. So if you missed it, I think this was very, very important. There is a lot of other things going on. You can't forget what we have here. Again, I even mentioned it with the hopes and vaccine. But last Friday, Munchkin sent a letter to the Fed saying that they need to return about $500 billion of the emergency funds back. So this has some interesting implications even for the long term. And that's why some of this economic data that comes out and then even the Fed minutes we're going to get this week might say stuff. But we want to see how the market digests that. We had a pretty medium-sized down day. I don't think it was too big on Friday. We closed about almost 1% on the down, 200 points. It really wasn't anything crazy. So we want to see, again, how the market reacts to this. And then now, how do those other factors come up? So remember, even on Friday and Thursday, you saw little hints about stimulus talks, Schumer and all that, but it was related to the budgets that come around December 11th. So we'll see how that push-pull affects it. Again, I really want to see how the market ends up digesting what we saw there with the Fed and Munchkin. So there's going to be that. Again, we might get some vaccine news. You saw Regen got the FDA approval. So I think we were supposed to hear from Pfizer and the other companies, but interesting enough, I think the other companies filed, but Regen actually got the approval. So somebody comment below, correct me if I'm wrong on that. So we will see how that comes into play. Again, the virus stuff is going to be important, but as far as everything else, there is going to be the Fed minutes. And now he didn't say much last time. If you guys remember when we saw Powell, it was right after the election. He kind of had that wait and see approach. It was very, very broad. So the minutes might give us some more insight. And then coming into the end of the year, we really won't be hearing from Powell too much unless something develops, or we'll see how that plays over, even in terms of some of the other shifts we might even see in government. And that kind of even brings up, you will see Biden picking his cabinet on Tuesday. So that could have some effect, but there's that. And then finally, there's the GDP estimates for the United States. So there is some other economic data points for other countries, but as far as the US, we're going to get our Q3 GDP estimates. So that could show kind of how analysts are viewing the economy in the sense of if we are really getting a recovery. If the estimates start to come in higher and higher, it could show where people think the market or overall broader economy is going there, if it's kind of projected to keep growing after what we've bounced with or not. So that's in the economic sense, not necessarily the stock market sense, but that could have some importance. We will be keeping our eye on that this week. And then as far as just how this is going to play out, I think it's just going to be a weird burn one type of week in the sense you might get industries moving. You are going to get a few retail earnings, and we saw some of those last week or over the last few weeks. You got the retail sales sales report. That was kind of really bad. So we'll see how that plays out. But pretty much if we don't see the market digest the Fed Munchkin news, or even if they just take it pretty lightly and it doesn't really have too much of effect until we get closer to the deadline or there's more information around it, I think we might kind of just stay in a range, and that's what it's going to kind of prove here. Are we going to kind of go lower, or are we going to kind of chill out here? So I think it'll be interesting. Again, if you guys just remember, since the last 2 or 3 weeks, though, this has pretty much all been that rotation game. So really what I am going to be looking for is these specific industries. Again, we'll see how the vaccine and medicines work. But again, if retail gets effects, or if there is now even safe havens or other things moving, which we are going to talk about the plays, and you guys are going to be surprised. But anything could happen. We are approaching the end of the year. I wouldn't put anything by us. So we got to keep our eyes open and stay prepared. I hope you're ready. But that is pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, I'm telling you guys, I'm going to surprise you with this. I know there's a lot of highly contested issues on this industry. Even my views towards it, some of you guys think I don't like it, but I think it's very, very interesting. I've been listening to a lot of you guys bringing this up, so I really want to share it on here for you guys mainly. I don't know if I'm going to play it, but I did notice something interesting. Again, the EV stocks, you love them, I hate them in the long term. I'm a long-term investor. You know, we talking long-term share. Okay, calm down. Don't hurt me. I'm a Tesla shareholder. Please, peace be with you. But I noticed that they are rotating, you know, and essentially can it prove to be a safe haven? So even on the short term, a lot of the EV stocks, I've been just looking at them since you guys have been bringing them up. You could kind of see how they've been reacting with this value stuff. Again, even related to the Biden administration, green energy, all that. But we really want to see now if the market starts to go down and they prove to be a safe haven. I will look at these. I will keep an eye on for them, but I want you guys to kind of even see this is something I brought up. So I said watch this with companies even like Uber, Snapchat recently. We have been watching those, and you've even seen how they've rotated and how that's been important. So although these companies may not be as safe, or I don't view them as like the best long-term candidates, nonetheless, if you do start to see money going there, and there clearly is, I want to see if that continues. So keep your eye on the EV stocks. I think that'll be one. I will look at the option chains. We'll see. You never know. But wanted to give you guys some exposure to that. Peace be with you. We're not against them, but these aren't really my first pick, but I will definitely take a look at some of these. So keep your eye on that. As far as everything else, I really want to watch banks, and even the fintech rotation is what I'm going to call it. But I want to see how bank stocks react to what we saw here with Munchkin and all that, and what they start to anticipate, because essentially, depending on what happens with that situation, and then now if you even see more unwinding of other stuff like that. Again, if you think about the emergency funds in Munchkin, that is an unwind. If you see other things unwinded and then it could lead to even defaults, the banks are going to be at risk. And even then, in that sense, one of the main ones I would look at with that is Wells Fargo. I just been keeping my eye on them. You could even see they had that little rotation. It looks like they popped with everything else, but you pull them out, they are really kind of dying compared to everything else. So I'm kind of even putting this on a really, really close watch. But again, even then, I want to watch the broader sense. But now what I even mean by this fintech rotation, I think some of the fintech, Square, PayPal, all those companies, I think they have a better chance of even becoming a safe haven if the banks kind of get clapped a little bit, because they have less exposure to kind of bigger loans and downside risks or any of that stuff. But then they have the upside of the transactional types of business that they hold, all the consumers, again, work from home and COVID and all that. So I want to see how that plays. And again, that will be dependent on the digestion of the Fed news. Then the other two stocks, these caught my attention over the last few weeks. I really, really like them. One of them is Walmart, which I don't have a play in, but I really like it just because it's been holding up, but it's been a slower mover, and I feel like it might have some good contract prices, but it's kind of been like Home Depot and McDonald's lately, where premiums are staying high, but then the stock has been moving pretty much a lot slower than what it has been priced in. So I want to watch those, but I want to see, again, don't forget some of the winners and losers. And even then, if anything develops over this week with the virus, we know what we're looking for, but we're looking to see if we see that same reaction, or now we've already got to see who the winners and losers from COVID are. So be watching Walmart. I want to see if we could set up a play this week. Again, I don't have any. I just want to see what we got in there. And then finally, ABBV, our favorite. So I really, really like this because lately it just hasn't had too many opportunities or times where it has closed above 100. So we got a pretty strong close. You're coming off of the Buffett news. I really think this is going to put it at an interesting point. It's already kind of had its burst. Again, ABBV could move slow, but I want to see if if it gets in higher prices. If it starts to pick up, if you guys have been trading the options, let me know how they are, but I want to watch that for sure. It's a really, really slow mover, but really what I'm looking for, if there's kind of like a turbo boost between 101 and like 105, maybe even like 107-ish. Essentially, I want to see if it keeps getting momentum through these highs. So I'm going to be watching that, and that could be potentially one to trade this week. And that is it for the plays as far as everything else. Like we said, Walmart, the electric stocks, I'm going to be watching JP Morgan, the bank stocks, Bank of America, I just like. Again, Wells Fargo is kind of just the weakest one out of all of those that I'm seeing. So watch those. Watch Zoom. I want to see the work from home trade. I just want to see how that plays out. But again, it has been expensive. I've been talking about this for 2 weeks. Still have yet to make a play, but if you guys do remember, I sold those puts last time. So maybe we might do that essentially if I think it's too expensive to buy, but I think it's going to benefit and kind of won't go down, or if the market goes down, it'll have a reason to go up, but I can't really predict the price with the break even in buying a contract. Selling a put might be a good one. We've already did that. We made like 150, 160 bucks, so not too bad, but I'm going to be watching them. And then Snapchat, again, safe haven stock essentially, and how it's been doing COVID winter. But any of these stocks that have been performing good in these last few weeks, especially when it's doing exactly the opposite of the market, I really, really like that. But this is getting close to that like 46 high that it said, or like, was it 46, 45? I don't know, but that should be fun. We will see that and maybe get into some of the options. Who knows? Then watch the airlines. I'd say watch some of the hospitality stocks, but just don't forget to this whole airline canary in the coal mine. I still think it exists. And again, we saw what's been happening now with the virus and stimulus talks. And then now if the Fed pulls money, it would maybe make it harder for the airlines to get bailed out in the future. We want to see how they react, but I think it is, again, the canary in the coal mine. And if we start to see big moves there, and if it is one of those weird cuck weeks where industries go and maybe we see airlines go down but other things go up, that might be worrisome. But I'm going to be watching those. Haven't made a play on them, but kind of watching it just as an indicator. Same thing with Boeing. It dropped from the highs, but it is still kind of holding up. So I want to see if that starts to sell off too. I think that could indicate something, and that has been responsible for keeping the market up a little bit. It has increased a little bit of the market cap. Again, Boeing's big. It's not what it used to be, but those days we had rotation, Boeing was pretty much doing the opposite at like 8% move. So watch them. And then Uber, I like. They kind of slipped up a little bit there, but I want to see if they keep continuing up. If not, that will kind of hint to that rotation being over, and that will be key. Again, pay attention. That's why I'm even saying the EV stocks, see where the money is moving and where it's going. And then Disney, that's one of the ones I like. It's not moving the same, but like I said, I want to keep that rotation idea in the back of my mind. We talked about Disney, why we really liked it. We still have that April play. It finally started to depreciate. It was moving a little bit weird last weekend. So I think that'll be interesting. And then finally, Regen. I want to see how this plays out. It's kind of not looking like the rest of the vaccine stocks, if you think about it, or even like Pfizer, but a lot of them kind of have slipped up in their weird ways. So we want to see how that affects the market, but I think it should be pretty hard to play. There's just been a lot of premium. And then finally, UUP, TLT, GLD. Notice again, UUP has not really been moving a lot. GLD hasn't. And I think GLD is actually going to be one of your better indicators. I've said that in the past, but I also want to watch it now, especially with Bitcoin and the move that it's been making there. So then watch them. But TLT, wrong chart. They are going to be the most important one to watch. And the thing about TLT that is just really, really crazy is that it is the only one of the trifecta really, really moving right now. But this is directly related to the Fed. Like I said, depending on what happens, Fed might lose control of it depending on how some of these moves play out. So I really want to see what range it goes to when it stops and everything else from there pretty much. But don't get too jumpy. Stay in the game. We have a lot this week, and it's going to be slow but fast for the end of the year. So I hope you're ready. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're hydrated, healthy, ready to go. Make sure you post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. I need you in the present, enjoying the moment, baby. You're living through history. You better get a long-term chair. The code loves you. I love you. We'll see you in the morning. Let's go.